Go access. Ha!
It's morphin' time!
Hello, this is Soundout12, and on today's video we're taking a look at the Memorial Edition G-Phone from Hyakujuu Sentai Gaoranger. So we're continuing our streak of Memorial Edition Sentai changers now that Sentai has ended. And honestly, I hope this streak keeps going because these have been really, really fun so far. It's not only a great chance to kind of upgrade these devices, but also to get a second chance at some of these that we may have missed in the past. Now, with this one, I will say, I'm not usually too picky about Bandai's brown mailer boxes being dropped, but mine got, like, concaved in because the packaging is just a tray, and there's nothing, like, holding it, and this box is kind of flimsy, and so I don't really care too much, because I may not even keep this box. It's not that impressive. But it's just something to keep in mind that, like, you know, even when your seller gets it fresh, it could get squeezed pretty quick and easy. So I want to give a massive shout out to Psycho O's, who did the notes and screenshots for this video. Without him, it wouldn't have gotten done as quick as it did, and so I wanted to give him a lot of credit. He really does help with these Memorial Editions to make sure these videos are as complete as possible. So let's get to the device itself. Before we begin, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos, and hit the hype button if it's available to you. Let's get into it. Alright, so here is the G-Phone, and it may look a little weird to you offset because we're typically used to seeing these with animal heads on top of them, because that's kind of how it works, but because this is the G-Phone, we do have 5 different animal heads. So for Gaoranger, this was their main transformation device, which looks like a pretty normal cell phone, just kind of a little bit fancier, a little bit accenty, a little bit cool. But then this thing does have a pretty unique feature in that it does transform into multiple forms, which we see in the series as part of the transformation. It turns into whichever animal, and then it turns into the Ranger before becoming the Ranger. And so they've retained all those features here on the new toy. Now, for those that may have Power Rangers experience, a lot of English viewers on the channel, so here is the Growl phone from Power Rangers Wild Force, which removed several features from the Japanese G-Phone. For example, it's one molded head for just the lion, whereas the G-Phone had features for all of them. You can see the color's a little bit different too. But on the Memorial Edition, same for other editions. This is a sticker. The Memorial Edition is layered plastic for special sounds. You can also see the buttons are a lot nicer. What's interesting is that the G-Phone did not have an on-off switch originally. They added one for Power Rangers. You can see it has an on-off switch there. But they did not add one for this. You actually have to hold a button to turn it on. But you can kind of see from the back, my Growl phone from Wild Force had a broken hinge that is not repairable. So hopefully these are sturdier because that is kind of an issue. But they did keep, you know, the die-cast hinges here are still kept in place on the new one. But this is not the same mold as the original Japanese. This one's closer to the original Deluxe, but it is a new mold overall from what I've seen online. You can also see that, like, there is paint here, which could get scuffed, and they've taken that out, so that way there's no scuffing going on. Also, in general, this one had like a little light latch to hold it open, whereas this one has a really sturdy latch. And then the hinge is, oh, okay. It's a little mediocre, honestly. It doesn't really hold open as well as this does, 25 years later and partially broken. So that's just your little bit of a comparison there. In terms of other physical features, you're probably wondering what this whole deal is. This is an antenna, and you can pull the antenna out because, yes, for those too young to remember or to know, cell phones used to need antennas, even the flip phones, and so that's kind of the feature there. The interesting part too is when you attach one of the animal heads, it clips onto the top of the antenna, and then you can pull this forward, and then you get the antenna with the animal head. But I'm kind of concerned about it because that's sturdy enough. It does rotate, but I accidentally almost bent this trying to push it back in with the animal head on it. So it's something to be cautious of, because if this breaks off, you can't put the animal heads on. They don't lock in place otherwise, which is a bit of a design flaw that I think the Memorial Edition should have addressed in some way. All right, so before we get into the sound effects within the G-Phone, I thought it'd be good to go over the transformation feature, because I don't really want to do it multiple times. I kind of want to do it a couple times and call it good. So obviously we've attached the lion head for Gao Red, and so of course the G-Phone can emulate a lion, and that is pretty simple and straightforward. You just pull the animal legs out, and boom, there it is. There's the lion. And so that's kind of like the way it would work, is in the show, it flies, it becomes a lion. They also are sentient in some way and run off in animal form. And I think it was just in Gaoranger versus Super Sentai, but that is an option. So you've got lion mode. Now, because of the shape of animals, the white tiger for Gao White, that also is there. So you can see we've got Gao White's animal head, and then boom, there is the tiger mode, and then Black Bison for Gao Black. There you go as well. It's kind of, those are all using the same shape. Now, the interesting part too is that they did, of course, modify this for the other animals. The other two, the shark and the eagle, are a little bit different. And I forgot to mention this, the Wild Force version has these parts sculpted in because it doesn't have the other animal heads. So if we're going to go for the eagle, right? So if we go Gao Yellow's eagle form, you basically need to get the legs folded up here, and then we're going to get these legs kind of positioned in a bit of a crouching position, if you follow what I mean. And then from there, we're going to open up the phone, and then we're going to flip these pieces out, because these actually move out so that they're sticking out like this. Flip them over, and now you've got the eagle mode, which is really cool. So for someone that's only ever owned the American release with the growl phone, it's kind of nice to finally be able to do the other animal forms, not just the heads, but the wing pieces as well. And then very cleverly, this is also how we get to the shark mode for Gao Blue, which you just turn these over, and then now they're shark fins, and then we just extend these legs out like this, and then there is the shark mode for Gao Blue. So it's pretty cool that you can kind of go through all of the modes there. And then, of course, lastly, the entire thing does turn into its Ranger form, which, of course, is the last part of the transformation. So we're going to do the Ranger form. So we get the legs, and we're going to fold them out like this, and then fold out the feet like that. And it's all nicely chromed up. It feels like it's possibly die-cast. I think it is, or it's chromed plastic. I know the original, sometimes the clashing of die-cast and plastic is part of the reason it broke. So we got that. We'll bring the arms up, and then flip the head up top. And we got a very, very tall Gaoranger. And so there is the Ranger mode for the phone. Real quick, we'll bring in the growl phone, which didn't have any die-cast. This one feels a little heftier, but you guys see the slight difference there. They are roughly the same. So that comparison done. Always like the detail of the stripe being under the Ranger helmet. So it's supposed to be kind of a generic Gaoranger. So you can swap these animal heads. Starting to realize how awkward the design is a little bit. You can also pose it, like if you wanted to get it into a pose of one of the Gaorangers, right? Because it would show, if you've seen the show, the pose is there, and then the Gaoranger appears after. You can't really balance it unless it's standing straight up and down, but it does have points of articulation to do all that. And hopefully these hinges hold up to the test of time better than the originals. But I'm going to fold this thing back into a phone, and we can start taking a look at the sound effects. So this takes 3 LR44 batteries, which are behind this screwed down cover. You can pull the tab to activate it. But unlike other items where you have the LR44s, you don't actually turn it on that way. And also this sits a little bit closer without a plastic tab in there. You actually need to turn this on by going to the keypad. So of course we do have all our keypad numbers, which do spell out Gaoranger across them, which is fun. We got our call button, our hang up button, our star sign, and our pound sign, as well as the morphing button. I like using Power Rangers terms in Sentai videos because I at least get one comment about it. But anyways, you get your change button, and then you get kind of the look there. One thing I do want to note, which is not a critique because I don't really care, but these 4 screws are visible, which is usually not a thing with the Memorial Editions. But this one does have them visible because they were visible in the show. With the other Memorial Editions, they'll fill in the screw holes because the show prop didn't have them. But in this case, they did. So they're here. All right, so how do you turn this thing on? There's no on-off switch. You have to hold down the hang up button, and you'll hear a bit of the theme song as it powers on. So there we go. We got the power on sound. Now this will stay on for 3 minutes. If you don't touch any buttons within 3 minutes, it will automatically shut down. But otherwise, you can just hold down the hang up button, and it will do the turn off sound. So it's pretty fun. You get the beginning of the theme song when you turn it on. You get the ending of the theme song when you turn it off. All right, so of course, let's get through some of the basic Memorial features you would expect, like we have music tracks. So if you hold down the green button, you'll get 3 different music tracks. It'll be the theme song and then 2 different henshin/roll call musics. All right, so of course we do have the keypad. Now, if you hit the call button, just like the original toy, you'll get this calling sound. And if you hit the red button for the hang up, you get a cancel sound, which also cancels out whatever sound you're doing. All right, so we have 2 different forms of the keypad. It's not as complicated as, say, like the Mobirates with its code system, but basically using the star sign, you will switch between keypad mode and sound effect mode. So for the purposes of the video, we're going to switch over to sound effect mode right away. But basically in keypad mode, you press any of these buttons and it makes keypad sounds. So that's basically it. There's no codes, there's nothing like that. So we're going to hold down the star sign and switch over to sound effect mode. All right, so by default, when you have this thing turned on and you are in either regular mode or sound effect mode, if you just press the lion button for the transformation without doing any other button presses, you're going to get a sound that is similar to the original Deluxe Toys version of the transformation. Though you will notice that on the original toy there was 2 green LEDs, whereas this has a little bit more of a rich LED palette. So there we go. All right, now we're going to get into the Ranger-specific sound effects, because each Ranger has a specific sound to them. So what we're going to do is basically you hold down one of these buttons, 1 to 5, and you'll get a different Ranger. So holding down 1 will get Gao Red, and then we'll get the Gao Red specific morph sound. Then we'll hold down number 2 and get Gao Yellows. Three for blue. Four for black. And 5 for white. Now, if you hold down number 6, you can get the Gaoranger group transformation with all 5. Now for buttons 7 through 9, we're going to get 3 different narrated transformation sounds, and those are fun for their own reasons. So let's go through them all. All right, and then lastly, if you don't want to turn the whole thing off before going back to the original deluxe transformation sound, you just hold down number 0, and then it gives you back to the original mode where you just push the button and you get the standard sound, which is nice because unlike a certain aura changer, you don't have to turn the whole thing off, turn it back on, and change rangers. All right, so we're still in sound effect mode, so that's after you hold down star, we're in sound effect mode. And if you press 1 through 5 multiple times, you're going to get different sound effects for each specific ranger. So, of course, we're going to start with Gao Red. By pressing 1 the first time, you get his roll call sounds. Pressing it again will get you the jump sound. And then pressing it a third time will get you his attack sound. And this is the case for buttons 2 through 5 for yellow, blue, black, and white. I'm not going to explain them. We're just going to go through them. Okay, so then for button 6, the first time you press it, you're going to get the team roll call part of the roll call, not the individuals, but the, actual Gaoranger team name roll call. Then you press it again, and you get the sound for the Hyakujuu, which is the giant sword attack. Number 7 is going to get us the animal sounds, which of course will be in the same order as the Rangers. Alright, number 8 will give us a specific sound from Gaoranger vs. Super Sentai, where the Gaorangers made the Gaoranger Storm, which is a big final attack ball. So the first button press is them making it, and the second button press is them using it. Alright, and then number 9 will be when the G-Phones ran away from the Gaorangers so they could go meet the past Sentai heroes in Gaoranger vs. Super Sentai. And then pressing number 0 will get you the sound from when the Gaorangers depower their transformation. So that's all the sound effects in the sound effects mode, and we're actually kind of at the end of the sound effects for this toy. There's one last feature though, it's the motion sensor feature. So the last feature in this is the motion sensor mode. You want to hold down the pound key, but before you do that, you need to be in a ranger mode, either 1 to 5 for one of the individual rangers or for 6 for the group one. We're just going to do the group one for this, but you need to hold this down and be in a ranger mode. If you're in the toy mode, this won't work properly. The way it's going to work is you're going to hold down the button, then after the swoosh sound comes in, you're going to move it like you're putting it towards your head, and then you hear the swoosh sound, you'll press the button like you push the button, and then you'll move it again like you're moving it to the other side of your head, and it'll do the full transformation sound. And that's just kind of a neat way to amplify the roleplay experience. And so like I said, that fully works with the others. If you do it when you're on toy mode, which toy mode still works with it, it's just not going to give you 2 sounds. It's only going to give you just the main sound. So with all that said, that is the sound effects on the G-Phone. It's pretty neat how many things are packed in this little thing, in addition to its transformation features. But what do I think about it overall? So the Memorial Edition G-Phone is pretty solid. You have all the features of the original toy. You've got the multiple animal heads, the antenna, the transformation features, but then you have a more refined sound effect palette. It's not just a couple sound effects, it's the full load. Now, while it may not be as intense as some other Memorial Editions, it doesn't have voice lines, it still works pretty effectively. You have music synced with sound effects, you have music that can play while you play sound effects. It's got all the normal features you'd expect from Memorial Edition. The motion sensor's fun, but honestly I kind of find it a little unnecessary since it just plays the same sounds that you do in the normal mode and you can just, role play your way through it, but it is at least a fun extra feature. I think overall, there's not anything missing from this, but maybe it would have been nice to have gotten some sound effects of Gao King or the mecha in general, because they're just basically untouched in this, which is kind of odd, especially with the keypad having some sound effect options. It would have been nice to have some sounds for the mecha. With that being said, I think it's pretty solid, and if you're a Gaoranger fan and you want to pick it up, I definitely would recommend it. I'm pretty happy with it. There's no major crippling flaws, and it's a lot easier to use than the Aura Changer was, where that had so many weird little functionality problems. This is a lot more straightforward and a lot simpler to use, and I'm grateful for that. The next Memorial Edition for Sentai will be the Tega Sword from Gaoranger, so if you don't want to miss out on that, be sure to hit subscribe now and hit the notification bells. I will be reviewing the Tega Sword. I don't buy every Memorial Edition, I just seem to buy most of them. So we're going to have more fun in the future. If you'd like to continue the conversation, you can join our Discord server in the link below. You can also join as a channel member and get perks like early access to videos as well as member-exclusive shoutouts. Let's get some special shoutouts to our channel members. Special shout out to these Captain Tier channel members: GameBroker84, Daniel Baglos, Jay Wyatt, Zanuck, Kemen Marquis, Gone Wrong, Peter Jacobson, PM Maltese, Kryper TEM, Orion Optimus, Sanji, and C. Hoffman. Thank you all for your support of this channel members and viewers alike. If you so wish, I'm on social media on Blue Sky and Letterboxd at Soundout12. You can find my wonderful graphic designer on social media and Discord at DarkClaw643, and you can find Hero Club at HeroClub.com for tokusatsu interviews and more. And until next time, this is Soundout saying, summon, Spirit of the Earth!